Opening the trade here in 15 minutes. Mark Oppold, welcome to our Thursday edition of Market Day Report. For all or part of our day, welcome. Those of you tuning in on RFDTV or tuning in on Rural Radio, channel 147 on Sirius XM. Welcome one and all. All right, let's get started here and invite our friend Rich Nelson from Allendale in to get us started here. Again, 15 minutes away from opening our trade. Every Thursday morning, all things equal, we have our weekly export sales, and such is the case this morning. Rich, Marlon and I were just commenting how many in the summary of these numbers, how many of these commodities are noting a marketing year low. Talk about that.
Good, exact. Actually, a great point here, especially as we're wrapping up this end of the old crop marketing year, which stops as of August 31st. A lot of these sales, you'll notice, are now actually moving for more new crop-based numbers. We'll talk about that with corn and soybeans.
Yeah, so not unusual that you're going to see that. I mean, because not to interrupt, but the point is that we are into the marketing year, and they're just going to roll into the new one. So we might see some marketing year lows as they do that.
Exactly right. So we shouldn't be too surprised about this here. For the numbers, corn, 441,000 tons. This was within the trade expectation. For the most part, looks like we're going to meet USDA's goal as far as exports there. Soybean numbers actually pretty strong, 683,000 tons sold. As you're alluding to, 228 of that was old. In fact, the vast majority, 455,000 new crop sales. So finally catching up on that very slow new crop pace. Over on meal, 141,000 tons here, combined sales. That number actually was within the trade expectations. Oil, 16,000 tons. And looking over the wheat side of things here, I've got 358,000 tons rounded up. So as far as the wheat, a little neutral there.
And then we look at sorghum, cotton, and rice. And this is where, by the way, that soybean meal number was a marketing year low. Cotton is a marketing year low, and rice is a marketing year low.
Exactly right here. And as far as these numbers on cotton especially, this might be a little scary, only 12,980 of old crop specific sales. So maybe on the cotton side, it might take that as maybe a little negative news here for today.
So those with the export sales, that's new information, but obviously it's all about weather. I was looking at the radar map here overnight. Boy, there's a little trail, kind of like almost like an interstate highway of its own here, following the jet stream from Colorado Springs all the way through parts of Kansas into Iowa and Illinois overnight. Not a very wide band, but pretty good rain.
Exactly right. So with the past 2 or 3 days, we've maybe changed some ideas here in this market with weather and such. And certainly our arguments between the American and the European model, which I hate at this time of year, but we do get them. Maybe that's throwing a little confusion for today and the next couple of days trade as well here.
Well, talk about yesterday's action after that crop report. Seemed like the numbers were fairly neutral. World numbers were a little higher than the June numbers. Yet we saw the big drop here across the board in the grain trade. What'd you make of that? I mean, is it all about weather, and is that justified, I guess?
Mark, I certainly have to say yes on both discussion points there. On the weather side, yes, we traded more or less neutral, slightly bearish after the report came out. No surprise. But just a few minutes after that, we did get the latest model run, that noon or the 11:30 model run. And this one is a big deal because, as we've said many times, you and I have talked before, pollination weather is the big deal. And if we get a weather change right now, this does have a market effect here.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how we open here in just a few minutes. Rich, we're going to give you a break here and come back. We're opening the livestock trade here in a little over 10 minutes. We do have the export numbers for beef and pork. Not very good here. Looking, both of them were down sharply, especially our pork number. We'll have that in your comments. Rich Nelson from Allendale joining us as we continue after this. Be right back. And 10 minutes away from opening our livestock trade here. It was quite a day. Limit up. We have expanded trading limits today. Rich Nelson rejoining us from Allendale. Rich, is expanded trading limits going to be a factor in your view before we open here?
I guess it's great to hear, great to talk about, but probably not going to be something that's challenged for today. So $4.50 move on cattle might be a little extreme for our news here for today, at least.
Very good. All right, we do have the weekly export sales numbers for beef and pork. This might be a factor in, I guess, halting any thoughts of limit up here. Talk about the numbers and your thoughts.
As far as the beef side, we saw 12,500 tons of sales here in the most recent week. And as a reminder, this is through between June 30th and July 6th. So this actually does have the July 4th holiday disruption involved, which also does explain some of our low numbers. On the beef side, this number was about 3% under last year, so slightly disappointing. But as a reminder, this is a July 4th holiday week. Pork numbers, 9,700 tons, and as you noted, this was the lowest we've seen so far of the year. However, kind of same story with beef. This is actually not unusual. Last year at this time, we only had 6,200 tons. So considering that issue, not as bad as it appears.
Let's go back to those futures then. Rich Nelson joining us from Allendale. And in your view, was the limit up justified for cattle and feeder cattle yesterday?
I can't say it was. Certainly, we got the higher cash trade moves up to 120, and that's great to hear. Certainly, higher trade is positive. Certainly at this time of year with so much negative news in recent weeks. However, I wonder maybe we're just getting a little too far ahead of ourselves.
Especially when you see the beef cutout down over $2 again, almost $2 every day here last week.
Exactly right here. So $2.55 on choice, $1.78 here select. It's got to be tough to get this market past this point we made just yesterday. So we'll start out a little higher today, but probably not move too much past that point.
And then the pork cutout here as well. We look at the pork side of things here, and the overall carcass trade there was up 56 cents, but big drop in loins, over $2. Hams were down over $1. And of course, that belly trade, who knows, up over $3.50 at the close. But that pork complex continues to again, setting highs here and there, defying some of the odds of analysts.
Certainly true. And all of us are saying, hey, this rally on the pork side is probably like 3 weeks past where we thought it would go at a minimum. But on the other side of things here, also keep in mind this rally on the future side is no longer an all-contract rally. It's just the nearbys. Yeah. So on this one, I wonder if the market's saying maybe it's good to see, but we'll see how long it lasts.
Exactly. Rich, before we leave you here, about a minute or so, just real quick, we set an all-time high in the Dow again at the close yesterday, an all-time high close. Talk about that stock market and the overall economy as you see it.
For right now, it is a big issue for us, and a lot of things, even us on the commodity side are watching, because we've been hoping or waiting for some type of commodity-based demand pull, you could say, here for us. Maybe on the economy side, we'll get a little more strength here in the coming quarters. As of right now, we don't have a health care bill lined up that's going to get this next push higher, but we'll see if we can get some passed here maybe in the next few weeks. We'll see.
And comments from Chairman Yellen apparently was also a factor in that trade moving higher yesterday, we understand.
Certainly was, and she made it very clear that they will be trying to move to only a Treasury-only balance sheet, so get rid of all the stuff that they picked up these past few years, which we certainly have to say would be positive for the big picture in the coming years.
Very good. Well, we covered a lot of ground here, Rich. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. As always, we'll have you back and look forward to the leadoff tomorrow and end this week. Could be a very interesting day tomorrow as well.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Rich Nelson from Allendale, McHenry, Illinois, is our first guest every morning here. And Janet, 5 minutes away from opening this trade, grain, livestock, on the stock market. So we'll be here to talk about it.
See what Thursday has in store for you.
That's exactly right.
Thanks, Mark.